Denver Gazette is counting down the top 10 sports stories of 2023, and we have reached number 6, which is just the flat out greatness of Mikaela Shiffrin. So, to talk about that today is our winter sports expert, and he's also a digital producer for the Denver Gazette, is Jonathan Ingraham. Jonathan, how are you?
Chris, good. How are you today, buddy?
I'm pretty good. I'm excited to talk about this with you. You know, you're very in tune with everything winter sports related. So I think you're the best person to talk about Mikaela Shiffrin, who broke, the World Cup record in March of 2023 and just continues to dominate a sport where she's, I think you just you just call her the queen of alpine skiing, or what did you call her?
She's the queen of ski racing. She kind of overthrew Lindsey Vonn's title, our other famous ski racer here in Colorado in the last couple of years, especially back in the 23 season after she broke Ingemar Stenmark's record. And now she's over 90 World Cup wins total. So, and it doesn't look like she's going to be slowing down anytime soon. Plus, she's only 28 years old. So she's still got several years in her body and her legs and just the whole bit. And she knows the circuit really well too. So it's looking bright for her for sure.
And she's also named one of Time's most influential people. I just saw as well, looking up some research for this. What is it about her? Like, she is just she's an amazing figure in the sports world. She's really an icon.
She really is. She's kind of transformed into one too recently in the last couple of years. She had a slower start from 2012 when she first got on the racing circuit up until about 2017, but she really took over this status as like the woman of sports, at least in the winter sports or action sports or kind of individual sports. I would place her up there with the Williams sisters and a couple of those other iconic women that you see, even some of the gymnasts from the 80s and 90s. And she's kind of in that range with LeBron James or with Michael Jordan or Wayne Gretzky, even as just one of those overall well-accomplished sports athletes ever. Yeah, it doesn't matter what the discipline is. She's just killing it all the time.
I mean, she's got some records. I was just kind of going through her stats a little bit. I mean, it's insane the numbers that she has put up in skiing.
Yeah, well, like I said earlier, she's got those 91 World Cup wins, and she just went over 100 total wins between World Championships, Olympic golds, as well as those World Cup wins, putting her in triple digits instead of double digits, which is just unheard of. I can't think of any other individual sports where you have some numbers that are just insane like that. And if you dive in a little bit deeper too, she's still kind of in that 30 to 35% win ratio range where she's basically going to win 1 out of every 3 races that she enters.
She's Tiger Woods like a little bit.
Yes. Yes, she's very much Tiger Woods like.
I mean, because I just saw this, like, she had won 50 races by 23 years old. I mean, it's just amazing. What do you think she means to in the Colorado sports landscape?
I think she went over the top by representing the state that's a little bit most known for like football and maybe the Avalanche and the Nuggets more recently, but she kind of put a new moniker in terms of what it means to be an athlete in Colorado, and especially a female athlete too. I mean, you take John Elway and Peyton Manning and some of the greats on the Avs with Sakic and even Alex English and Dikembe Mutombo on the court. But she really cemented herself as kind of this role model that a lot of younger people and a lot of skiers and even snowboarders can look up to, whether you're in the ski racing community or not. I think it's just overall, it's one of these icons that you're not going to see. She's a generational talent. She really is. And I think from what a couple of people I've talked to in the ski world and the ski racing world think is she's going to be here to stay, and she's going to cement that image and that status for a long time. And I think you're going to see potentially that the ski racing, especially in the women's side, is going to become a little bit more in the forefront going forward. It's never been really talked about. It's kind of a niche and elite kind of sport. But somebody that's humble and pretty in tune with just like how focused of an athlete she is. She really brings it to kind of the mainstream, and it's cool to be at the center point, especially here in Colorado. I mean, a lot of ski racing is over in Europe, but you see it coming stateside, and that's really cool to see going forward.
And so, what do you think the future kind of holds? Like the next Olympic Games aren't until 2026. So she'll be into her 30s by then, right? Because she's 29, 28.
She turned 28 back in March.
Okay. Okay. So, I mean, she's still winning. Didn't she just win a race again? Like she's still winning. But I'm sure she's still aiming for those 2026 games.
She's going to be aiming for the 2026 games. She's also going to be aiming for the World Championships that happen every other year, as well as just World Cup wins as a whole. However, I was talking to Chris Anthony. He's one of the family friends of the Shiffrins, and he was telling me that now that you're getting into your prime, or the plateau of your ski racing career, she's going to start focusing on more speed races instead of the technical races like the slalom or the giant slalom. And so I think what she's going to do is she's going to kind of focus a little bit, kind of like Lindsey Vonn did a little bit towards the end of her career, or even just throughout her career anyway, was trying to get some of these extra downhill and super G events under her belt, and push forward as she becomes a little bit more set in her body, as well as just becoming a little bit more a veteran in the ski racing world. It seems like, from what Chris Anthony and I were talking about, this is the path that a lot of these ski racers take. They focus on these speed racers as they get a little bit older, and I could see her competing in downhill or super G in 26 too, as well, over in Italy. So it'd be really cool to see her potentially get another gold medal in a speed race, instead of just in the slalom and giant slalom events that she's been competing in the past.
So one last question for you. Where, you kind of touched on this a little bit, talking about some of the legends in Colorado sports. Is she on that Mount Rushmore?
I think if you could potentially put a fifth face on Rushmore, or if you
Right.
wanted to maybe remove a face from the Colorado Mount Rushmore, she's cementing her place in that for sure. She has something that is so unique and so different. And as Chris Anthony and I were talking about this, and he reiterated this several times in a couple of texts back and forth, where you're winning by hundredths of a second, thousandths of a second, and to be that good on a consistent basis. And even though he did say that the competition recently is kind of catching her, so to speak, it's still a matter of just hundredths of a second, and little twitches on the ice, and missing a gate or hitting a gate too hard, that she's been able to overcome, especially like she did in Beijing in the 22 games, where she had some faulty runs, and she just kind of fell apart, maybe physically as well as mentally, but she rebounded, and here we are. And now she takes over, the overall titles of all these podiums and all these wins. So I would put her on that. I would put her on that mountain for sure.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to stop talking about her anytime soon. I think she's definitely here for the long run. Before we go, first, thanks for doing this, Jonathan. What do talk about some of the stuff you do on DenverGazette.com for the winter sports?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So right now, obviously focusing on some ski racing, and we got Lindsey Vonn is still in the news every once in a while, even though she lives in Florida. But focusing on a lot of the ski culture and snowboard culture on the whiteout column that I type up every week, as well as some snow reports, some weather forecasting. And then on the other side, do a lot of digital production, focusing on some food and beverage, press release stories, anything that kind of can be, posted online quickly and newsworthy, that we want to cover here in the metro area as well as around the state.
Sounds good. Winter sports is so important to our sports landscape here in Colorado, and it's great that you do that stuff, that it adds to our website. And like I said, we're not going to be not talking about Mikaela Shiffrin anytime soon. She's going to be in our sports lives for a long time. So make sure to go to DenverGazette.com to check out this countdown. They will come each day leading up to the end of the year. And Jonathan, thanks for coming on, and we will talk to you again later.
Yeah, appreciate it, Chris. Thanks. Have a good day, bud.
Thanks, Stu.